Okay folks, I just installed a dash cam on a 2016 Lexus NX300. As you can see, I mounted the dash cam right centered underneath the rear view mirror. And I didn't even have to take off the plastic console piece behind the rear mirror. I left it intact and I ran both cables nicely together and I ran it along the edge. And this thing right here pops off very loosely. All I did was get a plastic scraper by 3M, and all I did was just shove the wires in there. And as I shoved the wires in there along the headliner right here, and it's very loose also, I shoved all the cables underneath the headliner. As far as this side pillar right here, all I did was remove this rubber piece, take it off, and this I use my fingers to pop off this pillar piece right here, and it comes off pretty easily. It's just all snap on and snap off. I routed the cables all the way down along the pillar and down here, and I separated them because this dash cam comes with a rear view camera. The rear view camera, all I did was route it alongside of the car underneath this loop right here. This was fairly easy to take off. This piece of plastic pops right off with your hands, and the other piece, the power part of the cable that leads to the camera is a cigarette lighter plug. So that part I routed it underneath right here. All I had to do was take 2 Phillips screwdrivers off, and this whole plastic piece pops off. Once I popped it off, I had to remove this side panel right here, this leather side panel, and I didn't have to remove these Allen screws. These are just here for looks. It had nothing to do with the side panels. All I did was just take a piece of a 3M plastic scraper. I shoved it in there and I popped this off, and it comes off pretty easily. Once I popped it off, I took off this piece right here. This comes fairly off. And I took off this piece right here. It pops right off by hand. And this piece right here, all I did was just lift it off and pop it off. I routed the whole entire power cable underneath here. I made a tiny little notch right here just so it doesn't pinch my power cable, and I plugged it into the cigarette lighter. Fairly easy. Okay, let me show you the rear view camera part. I routed alongside of the car, okay, and all I did was just pop off this side Lexus piece. It comes right off. There's no screws or anything, just pops right off. I routed underneath the center pillar. Okay, it's fairly loose down here. All I had to do is shove the cables under there. That hides it pretty well. Went through the back door. I took off this piece right here. Just pops right off. No screws involved. And here's your cable for the rear view camera. And it went alongside here. I didn't have to take off any of these plastics because there's a seam right here that I just took my 3M scraper and I shoved it inside there, and I hid all the cables. And it hid fairly well. In the back, what I did was I removed the whole entire top panel. It's all pop off. There's no screws, just pop off. And then I removed this part right here, which is this pan right here. This pan comes with these little push tabs. All I did was just push it down, and it pops right off. Okay, and there was about 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. And this whole entire thing just comes right out. Okay, once it comes right out, here's the cable I was talking to you about. See, here's the back seat.